I'm 29 male. Been working as a freelance artist for 7 years now. And while it wasn't the smoothest start, I'm doing all right for myself. Well, all right. I mean, I've got my own place, no debt, and a solid list of clients who appreciate what I do. But if you ask my family, well, they tell you it's a hobby that just got lucky. At least that's what they used to say. For as long as I can remember, my family has had a knack for belittling anything that doesn't fit their definition of success. My dad was a regional manager for a chain of hardware stores. My mom taught kindergarten. My older brother, lawyer. My sister, accountant. And me, the kid who doodled too much in school. When I first started out as a freelancer, they didn't hold back. Freelance artist? You mean unemployed? My dad said once during dinner, laughing like he'd cracked the best joke of his life. My brother chimed in, let me know when you're ready to get a real job. I've got connections. I kept my head down, working 12-hour days to build my portfolio and find clients. Meanwhile, my family kept inviting me to gatherings where the main event was mocking my non-existent career. When I finally started making decent money, I stopped sharing updates with them because every success was met with skepticism or backhanded compliments. Good for you, my mom would say. But are you sure it'll last? Fast forward to last year, and everything changed. My dad's company filed for bankruptcy. My brother got hit with a messy divorce and legal fees. My sister lost a major client and struggled to keep her small accounting firm afloat. Meanwhile, my mom had retired, meaning their household was bleeding money faster than they could keep up. It started subtly. At first, it was little comments during phone calls. My mom saying, things have been a bit tight lately, or my dad grumbling about ungrateful kids ruining the economy. Then came the requests. We might need a little help covering the mortgage this month, my mom said one evening. I paused. What about dad's savings? Gone, she admitted. We've had some unexpected expenses. I knew what unexpected expenses meant. My dad had always loved his toys, boats, new cars, fancy gadgets. I'd warned him years ago to cut back, but he'd just waved me off, saying, you wouldn't understand, kid. You don't have a family to provide for. So, I sent them $2,000. I figured it was a one-time thing. But then came the second request. And the third. Soon, my brother and sister were calling too, each with their own sob story about why they needed a little help. I thought you were doing great as a lawyer. I asked my brother. He snapped, until the divorce. Do you have any idea how much alimony costs? And you think I'm responsible for that? I shot back. The entitlement was unreal. They didn't see me as a sibling anymore. They saw me as their personal ATM. When I finally put my foot down, they didn't take it well. You're seriously going to let your own family struggle while you sit on a pile of cash? My dad yelled over the phone. I'm not sitting on a pile of cash, I said calmly. I work for every cent I have, and I've already helped you more than I should have. From that point on, it was war. They started guilt-tripping me in ways I hadn't thought possible. My mom called crying, saying I was tearing the family apart. My sister sent long, angry texts accusing me of being selfish and ungrateful. My dad? He just stopped talking to me altogether. But the final straw came when I found out they'd been bad-mouthing me to extended family. They're saying you're refusing to help your parents in their time of need, my aunt told me during a call. Is that true? I was livid. I'd already given them over $10,000 in the past year. When I confronted my mom about it, she denied everything. Oh, come on, she said. You know how people twist things. We never said you refused to help. We just mentioned how hard things have been. That's when I decided I was done playing nice. If they wanted to treat me like an outsider, I'd give them a taste of what life without me looked like. I pulled back completely. No more money, no more answering their calls, and no more explanations. At first, they seemed to think I was bluffing. My brother left me a voicemail saying, "You're really going to ignore your own family? Pathetic." My dad sent an email that started off pretending to be civil, but quickly devolved into a rant about how I'll owe them for raising me. I blocked them all. That's when things escalated. One day, I came home to find a legal notice taped to my door. My parents were suing me. Their claim? That I had promised to provide ongoing financial support and had now abandoned them in a time of need. They'd even fabricated messages to make it look like I'd agreed to a long-term financial arrangement. The audacity stunned me. They had no case. I never promised anything, but the sheer entitlement it took to involve lawyers blew my mind. I immediately got my own attorney, who reassured me the case wouldn't hold up in court. "This is ridiculous," she said, "but we'll make sure they regret trying." The lawsuit dragged on for months. My parents painted themselves as poor, desperate retirees who had sacrificed everything for their ungrateful son. Their lawyer tried to argue that I had a moral obligation to help them based on the financial support I'd previously given. But their lies quickly unraveled. My attorney presented proof of the $10,000 I'd already sent them, along with records showing they'd spent the money on unnecessary luxuries, like a brand new hot tub. The fabricated messages they'd submitted? Easily debunked by comparing timestamps with my actual communications. The judge wasn't impressed. The case was dismissed, and my parents were ordered to pay my legal fees. But I wasn't done. The whole ordeal had cost me time, money, and no small amount of stress. I decided it was time to hit back. Not out of spite, but to teach them that actions have consequences. First, I reported my dad to the IRS. I'd always suspected he was playing fast and loose with his taxes, and a quick tip-off revealed he'd been underreporting income for years. The audit that followed wasn't just expensive, it was humiliating. He owed tens of thousands in back taxes and penalties. Next, I exposed my sister's shady accounting practices. She'd been using questionable methods to fudge numbers for her clients. And when I provided evidence to the proper authorities, it wasn't long before her firm faced an investigation. She lost several major clients, and her reputation in the industry took a nosedive. As for my brother, I let his ex-wife know about the offshore account he'd been hiding during their divorce. She reopened the case, and he ended up owing even more in alimony. It felt petty, sure, but it also felt justified. They'd spent years mocking me, dismissing my career, and then trying to bleed me dry when things fell apart for them. And when I refused to play along, they tried to destroy me. After the fallout, I got one final email from my mom. "You've ruined this family," she wrote. "Are you happy now?" I didn't bother responding. The truth is, they'd ruined themselves. All I did was stop enabling their entitlement. These days, I don't hear from them anymore. The silence is a relief. I focus on my work, my friends, and the life I've built for myself, one they said would never amount to anything. To anyone reading this who's dealt with entitled family members, you don't owe them anything. Sometimes walking away isn't just the best choice, it's the only choice. And hey, if you enjoyed this little dose of family drama, stick around. I've got plenty more stories where this came from.